right, Hershey,
Pablo,
how you doing, man?
doing good. And yourself?
I am alive. I haven't talked to you in ages.
It's been years upon years, it seems like.
Yeah, a little bit. Do you want to introduce yourself real quick for the
De-
audience?
Definitely. My name's David. So what do you say? Just like my name's David, my age? I don't
Dude, you
know.
don't have to say your age. You don't have
Yeah,
to say
okay, I was
anything.
gonna
All
say.
you have to say is be like, "Yo, I'm David."
David. Uh, Grew up in North Carolina, born in Ohio.
I didn't know you were
Uh,
from Ohio.
yeah, born in Ohio. I lived there for a year and a half, man, my whole life.
Damn, you're young.
Oh, I know, right? Oh, man.
Where are you living now?
I live out in Zebulon now.
Oh, in
Down,
Zebulon?
yeah, Zebulon.
Zebulon, North Carolina.
You bet, man.
What took you out there?
Well, let's see. My first wife and I, we found a house out off 96 out here in 2014, and that's what got us out here, and I've just been here ever since.
Just never thought about leaving, huh?
No, I definitely ain't going back to Raleigh. Forget that place.
What,
That's
what's
growing up too much.
what's wrong with Raleigh?
It's too crowded. It's insane, man, how crowded it is. And then, of course, out here, it's getting just the same way. All the farmland sold off, and they're developing on it, so.
Wait a minute.
Oh,
You're saying Raleigh's too crowded?
oh, yeah. Well, I don't live in New York. I'm sure
I was
that's
gonna say,
a lot
come,
worse.
come on up to New York, man. Let me see how you handle that.
That would be nuts. I don't think I would enjoy the crowds.
So I do want to acknowledge first and foremost. Thank you for your service. You are a veteran.
Yes, sir. And thank you very much. I appreciate it, man. It was my honor.
Will you share with us what branch you were in and kind of what you did? And
Definitely, yeah. I was joined in 2000 and let's see, 2002 is when I signed up in October. You remember Adrian? He and I joined up together in that little so-called buddy program where you're supposed to join and then you go to basic together and then AIT together and you're supposed to get stationed at a unit together. But I was too fat, so I had to lose weight.
how tough is the regiment, right? Like, what are the standards?
Let's see. As far as weight goes, I was like, I think, what was I? 205 maybe. But you had to be like, I think it was I want to say like 195, 190. I can't remember. It wasn't something crazy I had to lose. But I had to get in better shape before I could go to basic training, because then once you go to basic training, you have to be able to run the mile in 7.5 minutes. I can't remember. I think it was like 15 push-ups, 15 sit-ups, and so many pull-ups. And then you can go on to entering basic training. But if you can't pass that initial test, you get sent to fat boy camp. And then that's where they more or less get you in better shape to try to get you into basic training. But
So, and this is the Army, right?
this is Army National Guard. I was sitting there thinking National Guard, Homeland Defense, I'll stay in the States. And I remember that was my biggest thing. I was like, man, I ain't deploying. I'm not going nowhere. I said, I just want to stay here. I'll do Homeland Security. That all sounds kind of cool. Respond to like natural disasters.
Right.
And I remember asking the recruiter, I was like, hey, I said, I got one question for you. I said, I want to sign, but I got one question. He's like, what's that? I said, being National Guard, I said, are we going to deploy? He was like, man, you're National Guard, you're Homeland Defense. Slim to none chances. I was like, all
You
right,
ain't
cool.
going nowhere.
Yeah. So I said, sign me up. He's probably, oh, I got this one. And so I signed up, man, got in shape and everything. I went down to basic in, I think it was February of 2003. And then I ended up actually going before Adrian. Somehow he got delayed. I don't know why, but then we couldn't even go in the buddy program together. So I went at a different time, went to a different AIT and a whole different unit and everything. So went down to Fort Jackson, did my basic training there at the beginning of 2003 and graduated. I believe it was February, March, April. It had been in April. And then ended up going to Maryland for AIT. And that's where I was 63 Hotel track vehicle mechanic.
Can you describe what AIT is? I'm an idiot. I don't know anything.
AIT is your advanced individual training.
Okay.
So whatever MOS, which is your military occupational skill, whatever you pick, you'll go wherever they, I guess, have that school at for it. So mine was in mine was Everything Proving Grounds, Edgewood area in Maryland, and that's where you just go to your school to hone in on your skills for your occupational skill, which mine was a mechanic for track vehicles. So I went up there, and it was supposed to be something like 4 months long, but I remember it getting cut short. So we're coming up on the end. We're coming up to our field training, and they said, all right, well, they ended up pulling us all out, and they said, hey, just so you know, field training's canceled. We're like, oh, cool, man. We're all excited and everything. And then the drill sergeants were like, hey, I don't know why y'all are getting so excited. We're like, well, no field training, plus we're done early. I don't know what you can't be excited about.
Right.
So he was like, y'all are deploying. And I look around, and that's like one of the few National Guard people there, and everyone else is going to active duty or somewhere else. And I was like, well, it sucks for y'all. And they're like, what do you mean? I was like, I'm National Guard, man. I said, I'm going home. I'm going to my unit.
Right.
So I go home, and it's the second day home. I get a call from my unit, and they're like, we need to speak to Special Hershberger. I'm like, this is him. And I was like, what's going on? They're like, we've been activated. I was like, what's that mean?
Was there a hurricane in Louisiana?
Yeah, so I was like, man, I haven't really seen anything in the news about in the States. So, and I was sitting there, I was like, what's it mean? They're like, we're getting activated and we're going to deploy. I was like, where? They're like, Iraq. I'm like, huh. And it was like quiet for like 10, 15 minutes. Like, Hershberger. And I was like, yeah, I gotta go. I hung up the phone, and Mom and Dad knew exactly what was going on. They already kind of got the news from the unit when I was in training. So I walked out of my bedroom, and they're like, that was a call, wasn't it? I was like, gee, y'all knew? They say, yep. I was like, God dang me.
How old were you?
Let's see, 19, 20.
You're around 20.
So I joined at 19. I turned 20 in basic, and then 21 overseas. So anyways, we ended up moving up that October. We got activated to active orders and went to Bragg for month and a half. Went down to Fort Stewart, Georgia for some training. Left there, came back to Bragg. Went back to Fort Polk, Louisiana for what they call the box. And that's more or less like your simulated field training, what to do with riots, crowd control, stuff like that. And you did maintenance as well. But you're down there for a month. And then you came back to Bragg. And then you had I can't remember how many days before you could go back home and you could see your family. And then we deployed. So we deployed in February of 2003 until the end of 2003. So good times.
So, what made you join the military in the beginning?
I truly needed some discipline. You know, it's like,
well, I remember you and my brother used to have some fucking parties and shit.
Oh, Lord have mercy, man. So, you know, I was always like a straight and narrow kind of kid throughout high school and school, and nonetheless, all the way up through 18. And then I remember going to Wake Tech. And I was going to go for small business management. And
shout out to Wake Tech, man. Everyone's gone to fucking Wake Tech in North
Carolina.
Go
Eagles. Oh, man. And then, so I remember like the first day in my math class, she was like, look, we're all adults here. She's like, I don't take attendance. It's on you if you miss a class to get the notes and whatnot. And I was like,
yo, peace.
I said, can you go back a second? She said, what? I was like, you said no attendance? She's like, no attendance. She's like, you're an adult. If you miss this class, you get up with somebody and get your notes. I was like, all right. And then about a month later, I go back. She's like, she calls out the attendance. Oh, hold on 1 second. Let me turn the heat up in this house. Gosh darn, it's getting chilly.
You're good.
Hold on 1 second. Good thing for technology, I do it right here on my phone.
Oh, beautiful thing.
Oh, you gotta love it. Laziness. All right. So,
speaking of discipline.
Yeah. Oh, Lord. Can't even crawl out of the bed.
Right.
But so I remember then showing up like a month later, and she called out the attendance, and then she didn't call my name. She was like, anyone's name on this call, raise your hand. So I raised my hand. She was like, yes, and your name? I said, David Hershberger. She was like, oh, well, welcome back. I was like, I never left. She was like, well, you never came. I was like, oh, touche, touche. So
Right.
it just wasn't, I wasn't there like I should be. So I needed that discipline back. Ended up doing that and definitely loved exactly, going through basic training AIT. And you get to your unit though, it was laid back as can be. I mean, you're like a family. So I mean, that was where the awkwardness kind of comes in, where you're used to staying at parade rest, staying at attention, saluting, and addressing people properly. But then, like in the unit, you're like, you can just walk up to someone, "Hey, what's up, Sergeant so and so?" And you're like, "Where's the discipline at?" It's laid back, but over the years, it kind of just took a toll on me as far as I felt like it wasn't there anymore, and but it was good. It was good. It was definitely a hell of an experience. I wouldn't trade it for the world. Kind of wished I would have stuck in it, but
What do you mean that it wasn't there anymore?
like the discipline kind of fell off. It seemed like it just after
Gotcha.
that deployment, man, things really changed too. So you came home from the deployment. A lot of the older people, that's what the National Guard was. There was a whole bunch of old people in there too, out of shape. But a lot of those older people, they ended up getting out when we got home because they were like, that ain't happening again. So they ended up getting out. Then you got a lot of people that fast track as far as moving up the ranks quickly. And then it just kind of changed. It wasn't the same atmosphere as it was before. Like when I first got there, it just, I don't know, just wasn't what it was. So I did
So,
6 years and then I was done.
how many tours of Iraq did you do?
I did one tour in Iraq. That was in Operation Iraqi Freedom 2. And that took me, we were activated from October 2003 through February 2005. And then in 2006, I did the Border Patrol mission out in Arizona.
That's right. That's right. That's what you did.
Yeah.
So, I out of curiosity, I don't like it when people yell at me or tell me what to do. Like I don't do good with that because I'm just like, who the fuck are you?
Exactly.
Um, was it like that? Like obviously in the movies, everyone's yelling at you, telling you what to do, all this other stuff. It's intense. Is
That's
that
def
appropriate?
Yeah, I would say it is. But it kind of like where the world went, our country in general, everyone's sensitive. And you know how
Oh,
you need your safe places.
yep.
And not to say it's not all needed, but good Lord. But, anyways, in the basic training, I knew they couldn't touch you. Like physically, they couldn't touch you like in the old days. Like, you'd see in all the old war movies and whatnot. I mean, they couldn't touch you, but they get in your face. They could yell at you and everything else. And I guess it's all a mind game, how you really take it, because it's there just to break you down. They got to break you down completely and build you back up. So, with that being said, it was not what I expected as far as how to put it.
Well, did you actually feel that it worked? That
Oh hell yeah!
you became someone else
Oh,
almost?
definitely, definitely. I mean, that discipline, that structure, your composure, your trying to think, your confidence. But it's
Right.
all on how the individual really takes it. I mean, you have people in there that were in reception. So reception's like the week prior to basic training. So you got that 1 week you're in processing, getting paperwork done, getting your gear, getting everything ready for basic training. And at the end of reception, then you do your PT test to go on to basic training. But there's one guy I remember, he was on suicide watch. I was in reception, so you have like fire guard, different kind of guards that you got to pull. So I was on fire guard, but I had to go to the CQ, which is, but that's the term. That was like the office. CQ. What the hell was it? Yeah, make sure you don't.
But this was in the beginning, right?
So this, yeah, that was
And
this was
somebody
in
was
very,
already on suicide watch.
yeah, and that's where it kind of hits you like, why? I mean, you hadn't really even got into it, so it's all on how the individual is going to handle it. Can you handle that stress? Can you handle understanding that they're just going to break you down? They're doing what they got to do to make you something. But to
To make
see
you a
people not,
soldier.
yeah, exactly. I mean, god dang, you're just someone that's going to go defend the country. You figure You have to have that discipline. And I mean, quite frankly, I
Absolutely.
mean, like the old days, I mean, they put their hands on you, but they broke you down for real. But all it was verbal. It's all a mind game on how you handle that level of stress of them getting in your face, yelling at you, and you were good. So I remember we were in, so let's see, in reception, you pass that, you go past your PT test, then you load up on the Bluebird bus, and you have to ride with your duffel bag in your lap, and you got one on your back, and you got to keep your head in the lap. You can't lift up your head. You can't look out the windows. You just got to keep your head down. And then everyone unloads the bus, and then there's other duffel bags. I remember them throwing bags out in the open. You had to go find your bag. Then they would random drill sergeants would come up and yell at you for picking it up, put it over your head, put it down, pick it up, put it down, pick it up, put it on your back, put it on your front. I mean, it was just a game is all it is, just to get at you. And then you go through where our barracks were, you go to the company area, and all the bleachers were like in the shape of a U, just like we're about to do some sort of play or show or something. So they have you all sit on the bleachers, and then you hear this yelling like like someone's pretending, but they're just yelling just to yell, and they're running, and all the drill sergeants are running in, and then they stop and they all introduce themselves and they kind of tell us what's going to go on. And then there's a guy that was prior service. I won't say his name, but he was prior service, and he had got out due to family, just so his daughters could grow. And then when they became adults, he went back in. So all of a sudden he was like, "Oh, this is a joke." I was like, "Well, what do you mean?" He was like, "Oh, this ain't basic training, man." I was like, well, what do you think this is?" He was like, "A play." I was like, "What?" He was like, "This isn't like I went through." And he was like, "But anywho," so you go through it, man, but it was really good. Then I heard the rotation after me, they started stress cards. So when a drill sergeant came to you, started yelling at you, tearing you down verbally, you could pull this card out of your pocket and you hold it up. And instantly they had to stop because you were
What?
you're getting stressed. I'm like, that's a
Isn't that
joke,
the
dude.
point?
Yeah. So that started kind of coming into play when I was in AIT. You march down to your school as a company, and we're marching, and drill sergeant ahead, he had a heart attack or a stroke. I think it was a stroke, one of the two. Stroke, the cycle prior to mine. And he was back, but he kind of had a little slur in his speech, and
Right.
sometimes his step would get off. But someone laughed in the formation when we were on the way to school. He stopped the whole company,
Oh God.
and he's like, "Half right," and you're about to get smoked. So we all drop. We're going down, push-ups, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. All of a sudden, Humvee pulls up and gets out, speaks to drill sergeant, and all of a sudden, Humvee pulls away. And when the drill sergeant pulls away, or that Humvee pulls away, drill sergeant pulls us all back up. And then we go back down to school. And afterwards, we find out he was corrected because it was mass punishment. He can't punish the whole company because one person laughed. It's like,
What?
oh God, why not? I mean, this is
You're supposed to be a unit.
yeah, exactly. So those were little things that kind of got to you as far as you were expecting more, as far as I
Right.
figured, as far as the true discipline and stress level went, it should have been higher, especially if you got people. I mean, you're going to war, so if you can handle this, you ain't gonna make it overseas. But
Well, that's worrisome because
it is.
I don't know. I again, I'm not in the military. I don't have any experience, and I'm just talking out of my own fucking ass in my comfortable chair here in New York. But if you think about the people that are being trained in North Korea, China, Russia, I guarantee you they're not going, "Hey, Snowflake, are you okay?"
Oh, exactly. I mean,
Right?
it kind of it upsets you, and that it's
It's
a
putting
joke
us
when
in
you
a
think
very
about it.
dangerous spot.
No, not at all. And there's no reason. We even in basic training, we had 3 drill sergeants. We had one that was the approachable one. Then you had a mediator, and then you had the one don't fuck up because it's gonna be over if you do.
Hmm.
So that one, he took us out on a run one day. We come back, and a female captain approached him, and he had cursed during our cadence. and then cursed at someone for messing up in the cadence. And he was corrected for cursing at them. I'm like, huh? I was like, what are you supposed to do? I mean, this is the military. This is boot camp. And he's supposed to speak to him politely? I was like, what in the world?
That's a little weird. So besides well, I was gonna say outside of the training and everything else, you went overseas in 2013 or 2003. I guess
Yep.
is the weird way to say it.
2008.
2003. And what was that deployment like? If I remember correctly, I do remember you telling me something about seeing stars at night.
Oh, now that was the best part. The nights were never seen a sky like that because there's no lights all around, kind of like what we're used to as far as your city or even in the rural areas where we have dim lights or that, the outskirts of the towns. But the skies were the clearest you've ever seen. Just beautiful skies. And that was the best part to look forward to is that night. And then if you get your nods out, which are your night vision goggles, you can go outside and you look up at the sky, you'd see nothing but shooting stars through your night vision. It was just amazing. But
Really, you could see shooting stars pretty much every night.
oh, I mean, you go take a piss, you'll see about 10.
Jesus.
I mean, the night sky was as clear as could be. It was insane how clear it was. But I guess that's what happens when power gets rotated through villages, so you're not really always covered by power.
Wait, that was what was happening in Iraq?
Yeah, so we were in Tuz, Iraq, and up there, the villages around you could watch like one night power be on in that village, and the next night power's in the village, to the right of it, or power's on the one behind it, but yeah, they rotated power. They didn't have power for everybody to have power all the time.
Did it get cold at night? Were people kind of just
Crazy.
freezing whenever
Like
they didn't have power?
at the beginning in February, it was cold as shit at night. Let's see. During the day, you sweat your balls off. Excuse me, you sweat. But
You don't
gosh
understand
darn it, I
anyone
remember
with balls.
I remember balls. But I remember leaving we left Pope Air Force Base and it was cold. We went to New York, landed in what is that? Kennedy? I don't know. What's that one up there?
Yeah, JFK.
Yeah, JFK. Landed in JFK. Landed in Greenland. We had to drop off passengers. And then we landed in Germany. In Germany, it's just snowing all over the place. It was beautiful. And then I'm sitting there taking pictures, but we're on the military base. But out on the Greenway, you can't take pictures. But I was taking pictures of the planes, the snow coming down. And I remember someone coming out and getting like, "You can't take pictures on the Greenway." I was like, oh, my bad. But so it's snowing there, cold as can be. You got your warm weather gear on. Then you land in Kuwait. And you're like just slapped in the face with this heat. And probably, let's see, in the beginning months, it wasn't horrible. It was bearable. I would say 80s, 90s. So
Was it? I assume it was a dry heat, right?
very dry. Yeah,
Just the sun beating down on you is what really gets you.
beating is underrated, but yeah. But yeah, definitely a dry heat. And then as the months go on, you're sitting in your tent and you're sitting in front of the AC unit, like right in front of it. Sweat's pouring off your face. It's probably like 125, probably
Jesus.
125 or so in the tent, if not more. Then outside it'd be like maybe 105 or so, but frying inside those tents. So, but yeah, we stayed that was at Camp Caldwell in Tent City. And then you had to walk through the dirt about a quarter mile to the showers. So after your shower, you walk back through the dirt and you're dirty by the time you get back to your tent.
Jesus.
Yeah. And then the good old National Guard got treated like they say redheaded stepchildren. We had to sleep in tents, yet the Iraqi National Guard had a building. They could eat at the DFAC. And we had to eat through now I can't even remember what they call the field kitchens is more or less like a pop-up kitchen. Well, that's what we ate out of. That'd be your nice yummy dinner and your breakfast and MREs for lunch.
What was a typical meal like while you were there?
Um, everything's boiled. It seems like it's like you go down. Hey man, what are we having? You having steaks? Oh, boiled steaks. That's delicious. So,
Jesus.
but nah, I mean the food wasn't bad. I didn't. I,
Pizza tonight. Roll that bitch up.
but I tell you, that was the best part. Like in when we got to let's see, what was it? Fall Bernstein. That was when we were up in twos. So you got there, and then we had they developed it over the year while we were there. So you had hangars that we stayed in, and these were old Iraq. It was an old Iraqi air base, so it's cut in half. You have the Americans were on one side, and you got the Iraqis on the other. So the Iraqi National Guard's on one side, and we're all on the other. And then they had one empty hangar. That hangar got turned into the DFAC, and then they ended up boxing it in and putting AC in it so it was bearable. And then we had an MWR, which has like your internet cafe, and then we had a little PX over there inside another hangar, and you had a little wait area, and then of course we had our maintenance section in the front of that one, and then we had a couple bunkers around us, and those were like more or less for your officers, and then had infantry down from us.
How was the relationship with the Iraqis? Because I assume that you guys interacted a lot, right?
Yeah, so at Caldwell was really the only time I truly had to interact with them, because you had they worked on the base, and then when you did tower guard, you had what was it? Iraqi Army, Iraqi National Guard, and then we were there. So you had two or three soldiers would be in a tower. So you had to pull a shift with them. So getting to know them was kind of neat to be able to talk to them about their lifestyle and whatnot. And then they talk about how they have many wives, and then you tell them about your wife and children, and they're like, one wife? Only one wife? You're like, yep.
They're like, what's wrong with you?
Why no more? But
so on average, I mean, obviously this isn't, disclaimer, not every fucking Iraqi dude has 20 wives, but no. The people that you were interacting with had multiple wives.
Then I would say many of them had like, at least two at the minimum.
Well, you gotta step your game up, man.
I think so. That must be what's wrong with my life right now.
I need multiple wives at once. One headache isn't enough.
Oh no, Lord have mercy. That's a tough. I think you had the best luck with that one.
Oh man, no, but so it was a decent relationship though, right? Like you guys communicated. Nobody was a dick. It was you guys kind of
the ones I respect,
them and stuff
they
like
were
that.
Cool, and then like the interpreter we had on what was it? Interpreter was on Bernstein. He always wondered why we never nuked the whole country and turned it into a parking lot. Because, I mean, there's some that could saw it our way as far as why were we there, really. But, I mean, he was from Baghdad. His family was as well. Schools were all shut down. Like, one of the workers at Caldwell, he was a teacher out of work. But the reason he was working there is because, of course, we're there and they needed support on the base. And people took trash and whatnot. And then but just to hear the stories about how there was no schools then. I don't know how it is now, but there was no schools then. Everything got closed down. You weren't allowed to learn. They weren't allowed to teach reading. So to hear that was insane. Just to think about what we had back home and to think that everything they had was taken away then.
Was there a reason that school and learning and reading wasn't allowed?
That was when can't remember when they got Saddam, but
yeah, I was gonna say this was
before
Saddam Hussein or whatever his name was. He was still in power, right?
Yeah, because I remember we even got some of the money they had. They called dinar, and I mean just to think about, like, so it was 1,325 or 1,350 dinar to an American dollar. So when the soldiers were making, I think it was 300 American dollars. Not even a month, man. I can't remember how it broke down, but it was insane, the pay scale as far as comparing ours to theirs. I mean, their jaw would drop when you talk to them about it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the sad thing is, and that goes on today as well, right? This is why we pay people in India, China, Mexico, all these other countries to do shit for us, right?
Yeah.
Because we pay someone here $10, over there we can pay them 50 cents.
I remember I bought a CD player. Remember CD players?
I think I do. The
Yeah,
Sony Walkmans and stuff.
Yeah, that's what it was. I bought one of them. I remember I spent probably, I don't know, it was $65. One of those anti-skip ones. You walk around, bump it, then skip.
Right, the anti-skip. I remember that. God damn, you're fucking old. I'm old. Shit.
Oh, ain't shit, man. Ain't shit. But I'm sitting there thinking about all my hard-earned money I spent on this CD player, right? And this kid that was on the base with that guy that was a teacher, you know, he wanted one so bad. And he asked me, what it was and told him what it was. And he wanted one so bad. And I was like, well, how much you got? And already knew the exchange rate. And he pulls out this money and it's like 300 dinar. But I'm like, yeah, I said that ain't going to cut it, man. Cause I'm sitting there thinking that's not even a buck. But then I felt bad. I'm like, oh man, I'm sitting there trying to
you feel like a dick.
Give us some more money. And he ends up coming back the next day. He had it was like 1,200 and something dinar. And I was like, all right, man. Okay. All right. Here you go. So I'm sitting there thinking to myself the whole time, I'm like, I just sold this for less than $1. I said, why?
Like, what the fuck is wrong with me?
Like, he's going to really enjoy this Lil Jon CD.
The one CD he has.
Oh, man.
But I mean, it is sad, though. I mean, you did the right thing, I think.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Because it wasn't, after when I thought about it, finally, I was like, it's not even the point. Because for me, I got the experience of interacting with him, even though it's probably a bad one for him because he just gave like 3 months of money away.
That's sad.
God dang. But
all just to hear Lil Wayne say okay like 45 times per fucking song.
Oh man. But it was definitely a heck of an experience. And then Caldwell, that was a good time there. It wasn't, you get used to the mortars. You get mortared all the time. And then
Jesus.
So I think the biggest thing is you don't die, but you do, because you had to get past that thought of dying itself in general. It was, right. I remember first couple convoys you go on this, and I didn't leave the base. I went on convoys to go north. That took us, I think it was three or 4 days to go north. But other than that, I went on one patrol mission, and then you had to go on a convoy to go home on leave. And then when you came back, you took a convoy back to your base and then on the convoy out. So, I mean, well, I don't know, maybe a handful of convoys. But the initial convoy all the way north, and you cross that border going from Kuwait, where you're kind of safe. Things could still happen there, but it was nothing like what you would expect in Iraq. But as you cross that border, the berm, and you're told this is now you're leaving Kuwait and you're entering Iraq. And we're in good old World War II vehicles when active duty and everybody else is in these nice up-armored vehicles. And you're sitting there thinking to yourself, is this little plastic door going to save me? It was nuts. So we more or less, anybody would take anything they could to kind of up-armor their vehicle. Like, some people took the window themselves out, filled the doors with sand. If they had a metal door, of course, I didn't have a metal door.
Why was it that on your side it was plastic doors, but everybody else had armored shit?
The funding is probably what that fell to, as far as I'm guessing. So the initial plan was probably funding plays a part, but then of course when we came home, all of our crap stayed there. So more or less it cycled it out. So when we came home, all new equipment. Then we got the new stuff instead of having it when you probably should have had it. I think.
When you actually needed it.
Yeah, that would have been more beneficial. But thank God in my case, it never truly
came into play. Yeah.
Yeah, but that initial convoy, it was when you're told, like, so I was B driver, you got A driver, B driver. And so if anything happened, I had to respond while the driver drove. And I was in a little contact truck, which is a maintenance truck. So it was a Humvee with a box on the back that had nothing but tools on it. And I was a sergeant, older guy. He was funny. prior, he'd been in for years upon years. So it was kind of fun talking to him. But you're giving your briefing before you go over. And so if we have to stop for an ID sweep, you get out, driver stays in, you sweep around the vehicle so many yards, make sure there's no wires, nothing that looks funny. And if there's a berm, you run to the top of the berm, make sure no one or anything's on the other side of the berm. We were told
a berm,
like a wall of dirt, more or less.
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah, that's what, like, at your bases and stuff, you always had a berm around it, and then it'd be like Constantine wire around your base. But a berm in general, like if you're out and about, like a wall of sand or a hill or something like that, you had to go to the crest of it and make sure nothing was over the other side. And we were told, if anyone's running when we come to a stop, like literally just running from us, open fire. And you're like, huh? It's like, shit. I was like, man, all right.
Running from you or running towards you?
Running from you. Like something's about to happen. I mean, that's more or less, that's the only reason someone would. If something's about to happen in an area that you have to stop. Really, I mean, what other factor do they have to play?
Yeah.
But that was the whole concept of it. So that's in your head. You're like, man, I hope we don't stop for ID sweep. I hope we don't stop for this. And then coming into Baghdad, we're the second serial. We had one serial. So you have serials are the vehicles that are broke down. So you have one massive convoy, but they're broke down into serials. So serial A might be like, say, 15 vehicles. Serial B might be 20, whatever it may be.
Okay.
So serial A took off. So then that gave us, I can't remember what the time frame was in between the serials. Then we head out. And I'm like, all right, here we go. So then you cross that berm and you're entering country. And you're like, all right, now here it gets real. And we're coming up on Baghdad. This is, I can't remember how many hours into the drive, if that. And there's smoke pouring from Baghdad. Huge pillar of black smoke. Black Hawk circling. Cobras are circling. And I'm like, oh, fuck. 20-year-old, no, I wasn't even 20. So still 19. No, 20. Yeah, I was 20 then. 20-year-old me sitting there just thinking, here I was, just home, through training, and all I want to do is spend my money on my car. And now I'm over here, coming into Baghdad, smoke pouring, didn't know what was about to happen. And we come into the city, and we come where the fire is. It's a tanker, Iraqi trucker, and cab is on fire, smoke and flames just pouring from it. And the other serial had already moved on, so we hadn't got details yet. Iraqis are swarming us as we're coming to a stop, try to get to this little area. And then all we know is Imshi, which means more or less get the hell back, get away. And Sergeant Williams told me, he's like, give him the fire extinguisher. So we had one of those little small ones that you would have in your house under a sink or something.
Okay.
But from that cab, all you hear is screaming, and it's that driver stuck in that cab. And there ain't no way they're saving that one. And give him the extinguisher, yelling MC. They take off. Our convoy moves on. Then we get to our first stop, and that's where we found out we lost our first guy. So someone set off an IED in Baghdad and caught that trucker, and shrapnel went through the door and killed him. But that's when it kind of all turns around. So like I say, you don't die, but you die in a way. So you come to accept that it's more likely bound to happen to you. That was the best way to go about it, just to accept that most likely it could. That way you don't sit there and you just stress over it. Is today going to be the day? Is today going to be the day? Or is this convo going to be it? Just accept it.
Your mindset changes from holy shit, what could happen, to hey, I'm gonna do what I need to do.
Yeah.
And whatever happens.
And that was the best way to go about it. I mean, it's kind of what I live by now. It is what it is. I mean, you're there, you signed up for it. Go for it.
No, and dude, I've had multiple conversations on this podcast with multiple people where they increase the budget for the military all the time.
Yeah.
And I wish they would give it to the people, to the soldiers, to everyone who participates in these events. Because what you're describing, I mean, I'm just visualizing it and I'm like shitting my pants. And
It was nuts.
and the sad thing is all of this money goes to contracts to these large companies that produce whatever and then sell it to whoever buys it.
And I'll tell you, that was the way to go. Like a lot of people, when we came back, would get out and go back on contract because you speak to the same people doing your same job, making 110, you're making 35. So it's just weird how the world works.
Yeah, that's the thing that pisses me off. It's like, okay, yeah, let's give money to the military, but let's put it to the people who are actually out there doing, the protecting, the fighting, the everything.
Exactly.
Right? The people that are getting their hands dirty. No, well, I can't. I already said it earlier, but dude, thank you for your service. I mean,
you're welcome. Thank you.
That is. It's crazy what this world, even in 2020, 2003, whatever, and I'm sure we'll be in this type of situation in the future, but it's just sad that it comes to this, right?
Very much so.
And I don't know, it's just crazy, but I'll try to segue this out of it. When you got back, was there anything in particular that you wish the military would have prepared you for or would have assisted you more in? Because I mean, shit like that is just nuts, right? And to come back from that, I don't know.
You talking about prepared you for, like, when you come home, how to more or less demob and get in the mindset to be a civilian again? Or
right, to not live a life where you're just like, well, if I die, I die, right?
Yeah, I guess they do. I won't say they don't. And the care is there, but it's also taking advantage of it as far as make sure you use it. To me, my biggest downfall is time. Time, I mean, gosh darn. I mean, like, I could go to the VA every single day if you could go talk to someone, but in reality, 3 children, or 4 children, I should say. And then the other one I get every other weekend. I got 3 every other week, and then work, and now going back to school. So it's, to me, I guess I use that. I don't say I want to use that as an excuse, but I feel like I'm always on a time crunch. Like I never have the time to truly do it. But the help is there. It is. I've used it when I first came home. And the care is there. I won't say it's top notch, but I mean, everything you need, there truly is someone there that you could reach out to. Well, and that is a plus, because you got to know you can reach out, but are you?
Right.
So, I mean, it's just like, for lower back pain, I was going to the VA every 3 months for injections in my lower back. But then it became to a point, I'm like, that's every 3 months. I'm taking half a day off to go out there to get injections, which you're supposed to take the whole day because you're not supposed to go back to work after your injections. So then I thought, well, why am I going to take this time just to go get my injections? Well, just deal with your pain, because I'm not going out there for that. I'm losing so much time a year on just this alone. Utilizing it to the best of your advantage, but it's there.
Yeah, and I do think that, again, this is me sitting in my comfy chair, never done this before, speaking, but I feel like there should be more flexibility and more advantages, as in you shouldn't have to worry about not going back to work after injections, right? You shouldn't worry about stuff like that. Like, stuff like that should be completely covered, especially when we're spending God knows how much of our budget on military. It's like, okay, well, then that should go to the people that, need help, that require whatever, right? Increase their pay, increase their benefits, increase that. But it's not. And so that in itself is a different topic, but it's very annoying. And
I see where you're coming from.
From an outsider, it's like, okay, if somebody signs up who is willing to die for my benefit, give them every single, like, call it socialism, call it whatever you want it, give them every benefit that they need.
And that is, I mean, that's true. It shouldn't be a time frame. Like, you know, if you don't apply for benefits within a certain period after being released, you can actually lose those benefits. But yeah, there shouldn't be that time restraint on things. That's true.
So what about and pivoting here, what about when you went to the border
Oh,
to go shoot down the Mexicans?
that was like a 3 month party, dude. Um, yeah, that was the main reason I came back. It was just Lord have mercy. You would So we first got out there in 2006, and they put us all up in a 5-star hotel, which lo and behold, they knew they shouldn't have done because you put National Guard in a 5-star hotel. What's going to happen? We're part of the 30th Brigade, called the Dirty 30 for a reason. So we ended up getting kicked out of the 5-star hotel.
That's amazing.
Then they moved us to a no-star hotel, the Red Roof Inn.
God damn, a fucking red roof.
The Red Roof Inn, yeah, man, right there in Tucson. So what you did there, they went over like we do in the field. You were not there to subdue illegal immigrants. You were there to be a tattletale. So they tell you what to do, who you're going to call, whatnot. But
so you never went out and arrested them. You just spotted them and called the appropriate authorities.
Yeah, because you weren't there to arrest at all. You were only there to notify someone. So they had we were in Sassabee, which was right there in the corner of Arizona and Texas, in the border. And then just beautiful land too. Gosh darn, there's nothing beautiful skies there. Because there's nothing there. It was just open land. There was
Right.
Rancho de la Osa was where I was at. That little dang me, who was that guy? Pancho Villa. Isn't that his name, correct?
Yeah, Pancho Villa.
That was his ranch before, I think they said, the Mexican-American War. And then after the war, the border was pushed south so far, so the ranch fell on our country. So now it's actually a resort, and it's nuts, dude, how many people actually fly to this place to visit and stay for like a week and just.
And where was this?
Rancho de la Osa.
Rancho de la Osa.
And you got to search it. It's in Sassabee, Sasabe. I think was how it was spelled. Sassabee, okay. Arizona. And it's right there in the Sonoran Desert. Oh, it's beautiful there. So you end up getting, there's 3 females that were guides there that would take out the guest on horseback. And you would get to know them because they'd bring the guest by, the National Guard points. You had Mirador East, Mirador West. There's like 3 or 4 other points in this little area that we covered. And it'd be you and 3 other soldiers. And then you had rotations, 2 on, 2 off. And you just pull rotations for 3 days. So you're 3 days in the field, 3 days off. And then 3 days in the field, you just do 12-hour shifts. And then more or less just watch your border at night through the Clue, which is a big version of night vision goggles. And then
and I'm guessing that this was 24/7, right?
Oh yeah, it was nonstop. So once we were done with our 3 days, yeah, it's nighttime. So you rotate 24/7, yeah. And then when you're done, the soldiers coming in, they go to talk, they get briefed, they come out to your point, and you rotate out. And then but Border Patrol, they come through, they check on us, see what's going on, give us any insight what might be around the area. And then there's nothing for a border. So I understand a border wall in per se, because we Adrian ended up coming to visit it out there, and we went out to Rancho de la Osa for the night. And then the girls took us around to show us the border, and all it is a stick and a string of barbed wire. I'm like, that's the border? I was like, okay, whatever. No wonder everybody just comes in as they please. And but at night, no, you just watch your border. If you see anybody in the Clue or anything, or even during the day, if you see anything, you call Border Patrol, direct them to the area, and you more or less guide them in over the radio. And then they subdue them, take them to the bus, process them, take them back to the border, and then they go back south, and then they come back again. So
how often did you catch someone trying to cross?
It was nightly. I mean, all the time.
Like every day?
Oh yeah. I mean, just they'd come in by groups. They usually have a guide with them, someone that would get them across. And then at a certain point, that person would go south again. Once they get them to a certain point, they leave them. And then they make it away there, make the rest of the way themselves. But I remember probably like the second week there was some lady, I guess she injured her ankle or something. So she got left behind. But she was just in this little area that we were. I mean, hell, maybe half a mile, if that, from the border. But she was lost in that little area for 2 days, and Border Patrol found her. But her group left her. But it's interesting. We didn't have too much action. There was only one time where someone was fired upon from south of the border, and all they did was retreat from the point. That's all you could do. You couldn't fire back at that time because you don't know, didn't know who you'd be aiming at. Person just trying to get across the border for family, or a true drug runner or something.
Right. Did you ever get to know whether it was someone just looking for a better life, or someone that's just smuggling, or
That's really what a majority of it was, dude. I mean, honestly,
looking for a better life?
And you could tell. I mean, there was we are at Mirador West, and this is one of the points closer to the Rancho de la Osa, and this was at night. I'm on top of the Cut V with the Clue, and the Clue's vision is just freaking insane. I mean, it's immaculate. You can make out silhouettes perfectly, and
Jesus,
there's a group of 4 coming up a hill towards our camp, and we had a Border Patrol guy by us, and I was like, hey, I said, there's 4 right there. He said, where? I said, right there. I was like, dude. And then they had machetes. They're just not for weapons, but for chopping down the brush as they're going through it.
Right.
And I was like, right there. I was like, dude, I could throw a rock and hit him. He said, give me a second. He goes to his truck, turns on his lights and sirens, and they bolt south. And I was like, huh? And he was like, where are they at now? I was like, fucking running south. What do you think? And
Well,
he was
they're
like,
gone.
Yeah. He was like, good, job done. I said, oh, way to go, sir. I was like, my God. So I mean, that's where funding is not played right, just so we all know. I don't know if I should even say it, but it's not, just so you know. It's Adrian and I, when we visited the border, or that Rancho de la Osa, that's when I had my Lincoln. We spent the night there, and that morning and leaving, and passed an agent in the car sleeping. And then they ride my ass all the way down the highway, and I end up slamming on the brake, sliding off the road, and he comes up to the side door. I was like, I figured you've been riding my ass long enough. I'm just gonna stop for you.
Yeah.
Here are my IDs. I had my military ID out, my driver's license. I was like, is there something going on? And he's like, carry on. So he leaves. So I get back to Tucson, and the next day, people that were at talk were like, the hell happened on the highway? I was like, what do you mean? And they're like, we heard you got called in because someone pulled you over. I was like, great American dollars at work. I was like, the guy got woke up from his nap and chased me down.
Well, so then from your experience there, and I remember actually random memory, I remember you telling my brother that every person that was crossing that border should have been like enlisted into the military because they just got done walking like 500 miles.
No, not only that, they evaded everybody. Don't tell me how you lead. Oh man, how's this play? I don't know. You use it if you want to use this or not, but it's just like, I don't want it to come across wrong that I'm talking.
No, do it. I don't care.
So you lead an agent to a group, like, to my perspective, what I could see, caught, and then they go over that hill. Then the agent comes back alone saying no signs of a group, no tracks, no nothing. You're like, okay. You wonder some things, but they were, those people knew what they were doing, dude. I mean, they go through a wash, they know how to cover their foot tracks. That's some true people right there.
I mean, put them in the military, put them,
I don't want to say they knew what the hell they were doing. They had some endurance.
Yo, they got that endurance, man. Sign them up, let
Woo!
them earn that citizenship.
Exactly, man. I'm all for it.
Jesus. No, but it's crazy, right? The things that humans are capable of doing when their life is at stake.
Yeah. Then we had the complete opposite. We had one car come in, all blacked out, no lights, barreling through the border, just driving through the field. He got pulled. He had 375 pounds of seed in the trunk for marijuana. Jesus. So he was there for the wrong reason.
Right.
But there's stories of that too in certain areas, but I've never personally experienced as far as true drug runners that coming with bundles and bundles. And that was not what we experienced.
So I know we're going a little over here, but
are you good?
I gotta ask you this. My parents, they're all for the wall. Mm-hmm. Like they're like, man, we gotta keep those illegals out, and I'm just like, Mom, are you fucking kidding me?
I follow your dad on Facebook.
Yo, my dad is fucking nuts. I don't even follow him on Facebook.
Oh boy.
Yeah, he'll drink any soup that you hand him. But would, and again, this is a very divisive topic, right? But I understand part of the wall, right? Like, if there's a problem area where whatever, yeah, maybe like border it up, right?
Yeah.
But there's just no way you're gonna border the entire border, right? Like that just seems wasteful almost.
Look at the Great Wall of China.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know how many resources they use.
I don't either. No, I mean, I understand what you're saying in a perspective as far as your true trouble areas.
Because if you want to keep the bad guys out, then you're probably not going to. They got tunnels, they got planes, they got boats, they got everything.
But I think then, to me, I'm for it. Just in general, just slow it. It's going to happen no matter what, but I don't think it can hurt. And the ones that were caught, Border Patrol agents that do speak to them, they ask on a map to kind of have them point where their goal is as far as in the United States. And he said about 80% or more always pointed right at North Carolina for Raleigh.
Yo, for whatever reason, North Carolina is a hot spot, man.
Oh, yeah.
I don't
know what it is, but I remember him saying that. He's like, y'all are on the map, just so you know. I'm like, oh, that's great.
No, I mean, I don't look. When it comes to like human rights and all that other bullshit, look, build a wall. I don't give a shit, right? Like, I don't give a shit about a wall. Like, build it. Who cares?
Yeah.
What I care about are the resources and the time and the efforts. It just seems wasteful.
But then what isn't? I know I hate. So I'm not going to say I'm politically intelligent, but just reading news in general gives you a brief idea what the hell's going on. It's like we sent how many, what was it, millions or billions? Was it Pakistan for a gender study?
Right. No, trust me. See, that's exactly. That's exactly what's wrong with this government. And
it is. It's a shame, man. And we lost focus of the people, the true reason everybody claims to be proud to be American. I'm like, really? Now it's like, how proud are you?
No, dude, I'm all in, man. Like, even like during the Obama years, Bush years, Trump years, you hear of all these deals where we're sending God knows how much money out there. And then at the same time, you're hearing about the VA being underfunded.
Yeah.
Or how, homeless people. And
this and that, drug problems. But why aren't we? That's why I hate. That's the reason I think we're becoming a joke, because true sight's gone. I mean, it's not for the people anymore, which is a shame.
No, and I completely agree. And it's a shame, right? And this is why I hate voting for people that will come on stage and be like, yeah, we got to do better. We got to fix Flint, Michigan's water. And this was what, 2008, 2010? Like, who fixed it? Nobody. Nobody. All the politicians will go there and say we need to fix this, and then nobody does anything.
Once they get elected, they're good.
Right, exactly. It's all about, hey, look at me. I look good. I sound good. Vote for me, right? So with that being said, and this, again, you can say whatever you want, but I'll go ahead and say,
That's where it makes me think. You're talking about politicians and stuff, like voting. Do you vote every year?
Yeah.
If you don't mind me asking, yeah.
No,
so
yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Whenever, obviously, I haven't been a citizen for my entire life, but yeah, you have to vote. It's a duty, right? It's a duty as an American to vote.
How do you view it? Do you view it that your vote truly makes a difference, or whoever they want to get in office is going to happen no matter what?
Yes and no. So it's and this is a get your tinfoil hat out, right?
Yeah.
But in all honesty, if there's one country on this fucking planet that I trust elections, it's the United States. Now,
Yeah.
Does that mean that we're perfect? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Are there assholes out there that like North Carolina? Look at North Carolina. You're telling me that it went so red for Trump, and yet Roy Cooper, the Democrat, won?
Yeah, we've been talking about that one at work. How'd that work?
Yeah, how does that happen? And then same thing with other places where it went blue, and yet Republicans gained House seats. And it's like, what the fuck is happening, right?
This was my first year voting since the deployment overseas. Like, when
Really?
we went over, yeah, it was over there. You did a mail-in ballot, and of course, then you could trust it. Then I guess, but
back in my day,
exactly. But I voted then, and then like coming home, I was never really into politics or nothing, and I always just thought no matter what, they're going to get whoever they want. It doesn't matter on your vote. So I voted this past year finally, but even then, you still think, did it really make a difference? I know, yeah, you can see both sides to it, but
well, I will say this: I think the Electoral College is broken.
Yeah.
Because people in New York who are Republicans, why vote, right? It's not like New York's going to give their delegates to Trump.
Yeah.
And then if you live in North Carolina or some other super red state, why vote, right? It's not like North Carolina's going to go blue. It's only done it once in the last whatever years, and that was for Obama's first term. I don't know. It is weird. No, I completely agree, dude. It's to like face value. At face value, if you just look at it and say, that's weird.
Yeah, it is. And I think the part I hate the most about it is that I waited so long to even have an inkling of an interest into politics, because I don't know enough to even really truly speak on it. I mean, but we all have common sense to think, hey, something's off here. Or then I think, the hell are my kids going to have to deal with when they become adults?
Right.
What the hell are their problems going to be that they have to handle? I mean, it sucks where it's going, though.
Yes and no. I do think we are in dangerous times, but at the same time, man, I can't help but look at the bigger picture and say that I know that you're a little bit older than I am, but our generation or generations, we've had the best life that has ever been known to humankind. Like, ever. Like, there are treatments for some of these cancers. There is technology that if there's a pandemic and you have to stay home, you can literally go online and visit family and learn and do whatever, right? It's the best time to ever be alive, ever. That being said, I don't know. That's my viewpoint.
COVID.
Well, yeah. I mean, again, it's think about 1918 when the Spanish flu was here or whatever.
Before you move topics, what's your take on them? Since I don't know much about it. Maybe you know something I don't, or you may have more education on something. They were talking about this at work the other day about the flu is down 98% this season.
I don't know. All I know is that I think the number of people that have died from the flu, combined like the last 3, 4, 5 years,
Yeah.
it's just barely matching what COVID is. But I do think that because people are getting COVID, like they don't have time to get the flu. On top of that, one of my buddies, he's a nurse,
Yeah.
and he was predicting. He told me this last year, like in the middle of everything. He was like, "I'm predicting that the flu will be the lowest levels ever." And
But
I'm thinking, why?
they differentiate flu from the COVID.
Well, he was like, if everybody's wearing a mask, then all of a sudden the spread of a common flu or whatever you want to call it, it's just not going to happen the same way as in the past when nobody wears a mask.
Okay.
And again, it's easy to kind of look at everything at a face value, right?
Yeah.
But it's difficult to make the judgmental and the research and all that other good stuff.
That's true.
And this is why I don't really follow my dad on Facebook, because there'll be one post that says, "Oh, Bill Clinton, he's got like 5 kids, and we're gonna have a conference, and we're gonna confront him." And immediately he'd be like, "Yep, sounds about right. Bill Clinton has 5 kids with like this other woman, and look at this, right?" And it's like, dude, this is literally a Facebook post. And you're telling me
that's a downfall, I think, for us too. The social media part where we've lost touch of real people.
Oh, without a doubt, man. Like, without a doubt. I hate social media. Every weekend, I don't touch it.
That's a good practice. I like that.
No, yeah, it's. I literally used to have a girlfriend who would yell at me and be like, "Hey, I didn't see you on Instagram this weekend. Were you too busy banging some other girl?"
Oh my goodness.
And I'm like, "Yo, are you that hooked to fucking like social media that if you don't see someone online, your mind has to go wild?" Like,
did you watch that documentary? It was on
Netflix.
Netflix, yes.
Social Dilemma.
Yes, that one. Holy shit, that was awesome.
No, yeah, it's great. And I started ignoring social media on the weekends almost a year ago. And
every weekend?
Yeah, every weekend.
Dude, that's a good idea. I mean, I get on it for one, memes. Memes are funny. Who doesn't?
Yes, yes, they are.
So it's always good to thumb through those, and then of course, keep in touch. Like, mom and dad might have something on there, or Ange and Mark. Well, excuse me, I don't know the name. Yeah, Ange and Mark. They're out in California, right? So that's how we kind of all stay in touch. So you see family, and that's about the main reason I really like memes and family. But then when you look at the bigger picture of it, how quick we are just to. You want to react to someone's post, but then you're like, if you say what you say, they're going to get mad and offended. And this is where we've gone with it.
No, so this is the dangerous part that the documentary covered is we live in echo chambers, right?
Yeah.
So if I say, hey, the right wing is nuts, you're just going to see that over and over and over. Mm-hmm. And then if you say, hey, the left wing is nuts, you're going to see that over and over. And I get in trouble with my left-leaning friends, and I get in trouble with my right-leaning friends because I challenge every thought, right? It's like, hey, cool. Like, I get it, right? Like, Trump is an asshole. However, what about these policies, right? Or what about these events? Or what about whatever? And then on the other side, they're like, oh, yeah, Trump is a god. And I'm like, okay, cool. But what about all this other shit that he's doing, right? All the shit that he's passing that he's not talking about. He's not going to tweet and say, hey, I just demolished science funding, and hey, I just demolished all of these lands that we require for wetlands or whatever. He's not going to tweet that. He's going to tweet oh, they're attacking me. So it's kind of like, hey, you should look at both sides, and it's really annoying at how quickly people judge and don't want to listen to the other side. And
I guess that's sorry.
No, that's the dangerous part, right?
It really is. And that's the part I guess I hate about politics in general, why I really never mess with it, is because our country alone being so divided. I mean, I don't get how you have a party on each side, or however many parties there really are, but no one's there for the bigger picture. Why aren't we all there for the same reason instead of just to
Right.
benefit one group? That's the part that sucks about it. I just truly hate thinking about the country like that. So, I mean, we get so defensive, like you're saying, the Trump supporters or whatnot. And then the other side so supportive of their side, but we can't ever just come together, truly come together and do what's good for the country itself.
Yeah, and these echo chambers let you marry your ideas. So if your idea is, hey, we should build a wall, and then someone says, well, should we though? Like, maybe not. They'll be like, yo, fuck you. You're clearly like an asshole. You don't know anything, blah, 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 blah. And the opposite, right? Like somebody says, yeah, we should defund the police. And you'd be like, well, should we though? And they'd be like, yo, what the fuck? You're pro racism and you're pro this, pro that. And it's like, no, I'm not. But I'm just asking a question, right? Let's do some critical thinking about what we're talking about. And again, I have no, who am I to say that what's right or wrong? My whole thing is, let's think about it, right? And the more we think about it and the more we talk about it, and this is part of the reason that I started the podcast, is because I want people to sit down and just have a conversation.
What was your take on the stimulus checks? You know, one thing that was the biggest problem to me is how they did the PPP, which was good. That was good. I understand business had to apply for it. Of course, there's, like anything, someone's going to be out there and they're going to scam the government, get money. So hopefully they all get caught. But it was annoying. Of course, not to say I didn't take the check, but financially, I didn't need it. So it sucked when everyone got it, because, not to say Me Too for the wrong reason, but we're a Me Too country because everybody's got to get the same thing. So if he got a check, I want one, I want one, I want one, Me Too, Me Too, Me Too. But there's certain people we talk to, they come in, they're like, man, that's not enough money. That's not enough money. And I'm like, did you lose your job? No. Did you miss a paycheck? No. So you weren't furloughed? No. You still got your benefits? Yeah. What are you crying about the money? It's just, there's people that wanted all that free stuff, which I wish they would have made. We talked about that at work as far as how they did the PPP, which I don't know how it would ever work for people, but if you had them where they had to apply for it to be able to truly show they financially needed that support, instead of giving everybody the same amount of money and going in debt that much further.
Dude, I totally agree that it's weird to just say, hey, blanket check to everybody, right?
Yeah.
I think there's a couple logistical problems of saying, hey, who needs it, right? Because
time frame too.
Exactly, right? Let's pretend that you have 3 children and you got laid off immediately. Yeah. Can you really afford for the government to be like, all right, well, we're going to start a process in a couple of months.
Yeah, that ain't going to happen.
Right. True. It's like, yo, you need the money now. Like, if you need to pay rent, if you need to put food on the table, not only that, but look at the unemployment systems. They all crashed.
Yeah.
They all crashed.
And then the unemployment tax has gone up this year too.
Right. So then it's like, I get it. Like, if it was a perfect system, okay. And this is what they do in some of the countries in Europe, which is better, not the best, but it's better. Instead of sending out blank checks to everybody, if you got laid off, then you tell the government, hey, I got laid off, and then you get a certain percentage of your income.
No, I like to see that works out.
Right? So if you didn't get laid off, then you can't apply for that.
But now where that backfired though, because we had one of the vendors that we get our parts from, the girl at the front desk was on her way to become the manager at that place. She got furloughed when it all first started, and then was offered her job back. She was making more on unemployment than she was at her job. So they offered her job back. She says, why would I come back for less money when I'm getting more money from the government? That's when I wish she could just say, you know what? No more benefits. I mean, you had your job back. Why are you shaming the government out of so much money just because you had the option to?
Completely agree. So in Europe, you don't get 100%. I think the government pays for like, and again, this is like Spain or a few other countries. You get like 50% from the government, and then the company that you worked for, they covered like an extra 20%. So you're making like 70% of your regular pay. So there is the benefit to go back to work, right?
Definitely.
Because why make 70% when you can make 100% of your money? But in the U.S., it's also the other side of that is why is an extra $300 or $600 a month making a world's difference? Like maybe wages are like that shitty.
And wages is the big one too. Do you think minimum wage should be up to 15? What's your take?
It depends. Hands down, yeah. Like imagine being a human being trying to survive off of $15 an hour with like kids.
I
I would
understand.
probably kill myself.
Yeah. Okay.
Now,
See, sorry.
no. Like now, is every person that makes $15 an hour have kids and they're responsible for whatever? No. But there's such a discrepancy in the cost of living versus wages, and I think that in itself is the issue, and that in itself is harder to address.
It really is. But I guess I always thought about, like minimum wage. So I remember first job ever was Winn-Dixie. I was making, I think,
Does Winn-Dixie still exist? I don't think so, right?
I don't think so. Well, not in this area. I don't even know if they exist at all anymore. I can't remember.
Right.
But, I was making $7.85 an hour or something like that. But that was me as a middle schooler. I was in eighth grade. I was 13 years old. I remember getting a worker's permit to go to work. To me, that's what minimum wage was for.
Yeah.
You're entry level. You're learning responsibility. That's minimum wage. I don't think me as a 13-year-old should be able to go get a job, or however, even 16, get a job at $15 an hour, flipping burgers, frying fries, whatever it may be. I mean, in all, I always thought about it like, if you want more money, you get more money. The reason you're going to get it is because you're going to push yourself. You're going to either get the education you need to get that job that you truly want. But minimum wage across the board, I don't think should apply. I just feel that's a tough one just to give everybody at McDonald's or everybody at Burger King or give everybody at Lowe's Hardware. There's certain areas I think do deserve it. Would depend upon the field that you're in. That makes sense. But
dude, I completely agree, because if you live in New York and you're making $15 an hour, it's like, okay, cool, you make something. But if you live in the backwoods of North Carolina making $15 an hour, you're rich.
Oh, you're rich as hell. I mean, to me, it was like that would take away that glamour of going to college. Hey, I'm going to push myself to become something better. When I can get out of high school and make 15, why go to college?
Yeah, I mean, and that's the other thing. It's that trade-off, right? Because it took me 8 years to graduate from college. And if I had $1 for every single time that somebody told me, what are you doing wasting your time in college? You can literally just quit, work full time, and you'll make so much money.
Yeah.
I'd have like at least $10.
See, there you go. You'd be rich.
but what I'm saying is it's so easy to lose focus on what is out there.
Yeah.
Because as soon as I graduated, dude, I was making more money than all of those assholes that told me not to fucking go to school.
I remember you were going to. So I remember you were down in Wilmington. Weren't you going for?
Yeah, I went to Wake Tech. I went to Cape Fear Community College for film. Okay. And then I went back to Wake Tech, and then I eventually went to Charlotte and graduated there.
And then what'd you get your degree in?
Economics.
Because you did something with homes, correct? I can't remember exactly what it was.
Yeah, I was doing a home loan origination scorecard model building bullshit.
What the hell is that?
Dude, that's a silly thing.
I remember you talking about something with rates, or you try to predict something?
Yeah, we were trying to predict risk of a loan.
Oh.
So, but
yeah, so
again, dude, I've worked from Chuck E. Cheese to Boy Scout stores to a store at the mall to delivering pizzas. I've done it all, right?
Yeah.
The amount of work that I do today is nothing compared to what I used to do. Like, I literally do
easier
so much easier.
Oh.
So much easier. I can literally just log on whenever I want, type out some bullshit, go outside, take a break, do whatever. How many times were you busting your ass in some like shit job where you're getting paid? Because I used to get paid like $750, $760, whatever it was, right?
Or maybe that's what. Yeah, I remember it being low as shit.
Yeah, it was like crazy fucking low. But imagine being paid $8 an hour and you're not allowed anything other than a 15-minute break and a lunch break.
Well,
And it's like, yo, what the fuck, right? It's like these people, and this is why I don't really have a huge problem with like the minimum wage, is because these are the shittiest jobs. These are not jobs where you sit in a comfy chair. Dude, I started doing stand-up. I started doing this podcast. I started like doing whatever the fuck I wanted with my own fucking time because my job is so easy that it lets me do whatever the fuck I want.
All right. But then, you know what I think about is like, okay, say you do minimum wage, $15 an hour. So say there's that person then that graduated high school, they went to college, and they got a job making 18. 18 is not too bad of a start, but could you imagine you did everything you did and you're 18 thinking you did something. And then all of a sudden that person over there that just delivered you your cheeseburger is making only $3 less an hour and doesn't have college tuition to pay back.
So the problem with that logic, and this is, I strictly remember my manager at a Harris Teeter.
Uh-huh.
He told me, hey man, you can quit your job or quit school, become full-time, and then you can be like me making $50,000 a year as a manager. Now, today, if I had to guess, he's probably making close to like $60,000.
If not a little bit more. If you're a store manager, you make pretty good money.
He wasn't a store manager.
Yeah.
He was the manager of like produce.
Like a department?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now the manager of the store, like the manager was probably making like closer to like 80, 90.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, he's capped out. He's not going any higher than that. It's going to be very difficult.
Wants more and becomes more, right?
No. I mean, what are you going to be more than a fucking store manager?
Well, yeah, store manager. So if you really wanted more than, see, that's where I guess people might become comfortable in their, I don't know, maybe he's not comfortable. So say if you made 85,000, goddamn, 85,000, how I made that, I'm good. I'm happy where I'm at. I got the home I need, car I need.
Right.
But if I really wanted more, you would go get it, hopefully, and not just hope for a handout. But I see what you're saying.
Yeah, the problem with the whole like, hey, do you really want to make only $3 more than the $15, minimum wage? Is he's probably already close to capping out at wherever he's at.
Yeah,
like he's not going to go much higher. That store manager that took him, he was not young. Took him forever to get to become a store, like an entire Harris Teeter store manager. He was making like 85, 90. It took him a long fucking time to get there. Definitely. You come out of college, assuming you're not studying, women's studies or whatever, not to be sexist or anything. But,
sexist, there you go.
or art studies or whatever the fuck it is. Those jobs, those are rare to make a lot. But what I'm saying is, if you study something that is in demand, you come out making $60,000, like fresh out of college.
Yeah.
Now, your limit is whatever you want it to be, right? So if you come out of college and you're making 60 and you're like, holy shit, this is the best life I've ever lived and this is all I need, great, stay at your job and do nothing. But if you want more, then you're going to network and you're going to talk to your managers and you're going to do this. And next thing you know, you're making $200,000 a year.
Tell me what track to get on.
Well, it's not going to be being a manager at a Harris Teeter.
Yeah, exactly.
And so this is the logic that I've seen, right? Is, well, why waste money in college when you can just work full time? It's like, yeah, but you're capping yourself. Yeah. College is uncapping yourself. You can literally do whatever you want.
That's true. That is very true.
No, but again, people get so caught up on details, in my opinion, that do I think the minimum wage should be $7? No, I don't think so. I think that's way too low. Should it be $20? I don't know. Maybe that's too high. I don't know. I need research to be done. Where do you live? What are you doing? What is your age, right? So maybe they should make a law where they're like, you know what? If you're under 25 years old, the minimum wage is going to be this much. If you're over this age,
or if you're in high school.
If you're in high school.
Yeah, bracket it.
Absolutely. I
Dude,
am
I'd be all for that. That makes sense. But it's the fact that
100%
everyone
for it.
jumps on board so fast to say we all need that. Because when I look at it, I think here's a 13-year-old kid like I was making 15. So I mean, those are where I think minimum wage should stay low. You're an entry level. You're learning responsibility. It shouldn't be 15 an hour at
No,
someone that's in high school learning responsibility. I understand that, like you're saying, then age wise. So that single mom that might only be able to work at McDonald's, she needs more, and that makes sense to me.
yeah, I mean, we need. So this is the again part of the problem in with everything is we need politicians to actually be intellectual and not just go out and be like, "Hey, vote for me," because
Yeah,
I don't want 13-year-olds making $15 an hour. That's retarded. And then people
yeah,
are like, "Yeah, that is retarded. So let's vote against it." Or other people who are like, "No, $15 an hour, no matter what." Because I want to help the people. And they're like, well, yeah, we should help the people, right? And it's like, okay, well, how about this? If you guys can't agree, maybe get in the fucking room, talk it out. And like right now, we both just expressed our opinions and then we all of a sudden came to an agreement. Oh, you know
I mean,
what? Maybe it is the age, right?
that's what I don't get. Why can't politicians do it?
It's
It's
all so
that's
broken.
where I get ashamed when I think about our country as far as what we do and how we portray one thing as peaceful protesting, and then the other side or someone else may be doing something along the same lines, and it,
So
yeah,
to finish this podcast, I do want to
yeah,
ask you this, and
uh-huh,
again, say as much as you want or don't say anything. Um, you're a veteran. You have served this country. You have put yourself, your life, and everyone that you love technically in danger, right? Because if you go, it's not just you. It's everyone that knows you, that loves you, who cares about you.
mhm.
You are now witnessing something that has never happened before in terms of, hey, did this election actually get stolen? Yes or no? Do we fight back? Yes or no? Should we storm the Capitol?
God,
Apparently they chose yes. Um, and now there's going to be protest again at the Capitol and apparently at every state capitol. And I've seen a billion, and I mean a billion posts online or friends telling me about other friends or whatever it may be about prepare for civil war, prepare yourself, get a gun, we got to fight, we got to do this. What is your opinion on all of this after serving this country and seeing it where it is today?
uh, disgrace. It sucks thinking about it, where we are, how we're so divided. I mean, that's one reason I think it would be awesome if they ever made it mandatory. Do 3 years in the service. You must do even two. You'll learn an experience of brotherhood, a united family. I mean, truly, there ain't no race. You're gonna have people that have differences, and yes, but nonetheless, you got to have that person's back. They're gonna have your back. You learn a
Right.
bond that it's unheard of. I mean, life or death, you got to be there for that person, and they're gonna be there for you. And just as civilians in general, no one's going to give two craps about the person over there. They're going to be worried about themselves. But if you could only learn that bond where everybody was truly for one another, that would be nice. But speaking on that, I guess you just got to be ready for whatever happens. I don't know.
Do you think something will happen?
I mean, people are only going to go so far to feel like they're not heard. But I think that goes on both sides, no matter how you look at the news that we've had over the past year. Uh, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
per se say it really would happen, but would it shock me? No, but I don't. Hopefully not.
Do you what how can I say this? Are you preparing for something to like and
If
obviously
something does happen,
it's
can I protect mine?
yeah.
I will, and yes, I'm ready.
Yeah. But I guess what I meant is not only well, obviously someone generally in the South, more likely to have a gun, blah blah blah. And
Yeah,
then you being military, I mean, you're obviously more ready than the average person if shit hits the fan, right?
Yeah.
But I guess what I meant by that question is, are you actively anticipating or expecting something?
No, I myself, no, I'm not. I mean, I just know it's not going to get any better until the sides come together. But it's just, I don't say I'm preparing myself for a war. No.
Okay. No, yeah, I
I
was
would
just
hope not. Try to teach my kids
yeah.
that hopefully the world they're growing up in is going to be a peaceful one, and trust that person over there. That's one thing. My kids are, don't talk to strangers, stuff like that. My kids don't know strangers. Lord have mercy. Someone walk down the street, Jeremiah be like, "Hi, I'm Jeremiah David Hershberger. I'm 12 years old. I live right there at that house, and my daddy does this." I'm like, Jesus Christ. I was like, I don't mind you talking to people saying, "Hey," but don't give them everything.
By the way, my social security number is.
Lord have mercy.
That's funny.
But no, I mean, I want to teach them to be ready, but I don't want them to think that's what we're going for. And I don't even myself, I don't think that's what we would go for. I'm not preparing myself for a war. No, not within my home country. Lord have mercy.
Right? This is not what the U.S. is supposed to be.
I see us coming like a third world country. I mean, why would we go this route?
Right.
It shouldn't even be an idea or a thought in our head to think that we look back, you say you're proud to be an American, we're the best country in the world, and then you're actually truly looking at the news and you're like, really?
No, it's a sad little period.
Yeah, that it is.
But really, I really hope that people like my dad just log off online and just kind of think about things, right?
What's your take on that as far as, do you think, or are you preparing?
No, I've always wanted to buy a gun, like since I was young. And I still plan on buying one, but not because I'm preparing to, defend my home and fight for the right side or whatever. It's just I actually enjoy guns. Like the few times that I've shot them and the few times that I've done whatever, thoroughly enjoyed it. But in my opinion, I think that this is an attack from an outside group. Again, tinfoil hats on here.
I got you.
Dude, somebody is organizing this. Somebody is behind all of this.
It doesn't add up.
Right. You're telling me that a handful of civilians can just walk into the Capitol Hill and
that's what I don't get either.
Do as they wish? No. Something is up. And then my prediction is this is step one of whatever big plan there is. And I really
Do you think that falls back on the COVID thing? Do you see a plan behind that? Or do you truly think?
No, I think COVID is, again, if this was the first time ever that a virus attacks humans, then it'd be like, oh shit, what the fuck? Where did this come from, right?
Yeah.
But we get flu shots all the time. We've had a pandemic, literally like 100 years ago. The bubonic plague, smallpox, all of these events have occurred throughout time. I don't think that it's, I don't know, some guy said, oh, I'm going to fuck with people. No, I don't think so. But that being said, it's part of their game plan, probably.
Yeah.
Right? So, oh shit, this is happening. Now's the time to activate step one. And whether it's Black Lives Matter or the Trumpers, it's everyone's tired of being at home. Everyone's tired of being told what to do. Everyone's tired of not living a normal life. So if you find an outlet, you go for it, right?
Yeah.
And I get it. But again, it's just weird that people just walk into Capitol fucking Hill and just do whatever they want. Like, that's not supposed to happen ever.
And especially if you're truly for your country, I don't know why you would. I don't know the backing, like you're saying, the plan behind that. It doesn't make sense to do it that way. Whatever.
Yeah. No,
I guess however many
people
weird. Have been portraying themselves like Black Lives Matter. To me, that wasn't portrayed civilly, nor is this one here. And that's what I hate about politics. I don't even really talking about it too much, but it's like how they twist things to work, like you say, for their agenda. So Black
Right.
Lives Matter, or whatever it was, all those rioting, the looting, the burning, murdering of cops, peaceful protesting is what it's labeled. And you're like, how? And then they respond and they go to that, like you say, at the Capitol. It's like, why? I mean, just why are you responding this way to an extreme?
Right. And dude, I watch all sides of the news and everything else, and the hypocrisy is everywhere, right? The hypocrisy, the double standards, you know, during the summer, Black Lives Matter, Fox News is condemning everyone, right? They're all fucking assholes, they're all fucking, out of their fucking mind. And then Capitol Hill happens, and they're like, well, the lady that got killed, and again, it sucks that a life got lost, or any lives. I think it was 5 lives total, but they were like, oh, the lady that got killed, she was former military, so she wasn't crazy. She was normal, right? And it's like, wait a minute. Black Lives Matter, when something happens, they're crazy, but when somebody storms Capitol Hill, they're not crazy. It's like, what?
You all lost your shit when you go to that point.
Right. I think it's fair to say that everyone who is willing to just go out there and cause trouble for like just trouble, they're crazy. Both sides.
Okay.
I don't give a shit. Now, this is where it gets tricky, right? Because then you have to, and again, this is easy. It's easy to look at everything at face value.
Oh, yeah.
Always easy. But then you dig a little bit deeper and it's like, okay, what were the Trumpers fighting for? Okay, they're fighting because they believe that the election got rigged. Cool. If you look at everything at face value, it does kind of look funky, right?
Yeah.
You're telling me that Joe Biden, who had no excitement, lost a record amount of counties, all this other shit, you're telling me that he broke records of voter turnout. Okay, that's kind of fucking silly to think. Now, on the other side, over the summer, imagine you live in a community that has always been underserved, that has always been taken advantage of, that is now and always has had issues with the police, right? So somebody gets pulled over for whatever, immediately arrested or abused, shot, whatever it may be. You're being attacked in your own home every day. Why wouldn't you stand up and fight back, right? There's a difference. There's a difference between being attacked in your own home versus, oh, someone stole the election.
So, I agree with you. Definitely. But I hate, like you say, of course, media. I can't say in the media either.
Yeah.
But how that was turned and then what they put out there. It's more or less like inciting it, talking about the police, talking about this and that. But
again, I don't think there's a right or wrong.
Why not go about it in a way? You can't, though. No matter what you do, you can try peaceful. But like you say, there's always going to be someone's going to incite something.
Yep.
And that's the part that fucking sucks because someone's there to start the whole fucking thing. Like they said, even before all these riots, how it was kind of odd. I remember there being stories about like a pallet of bricks showed up on a corner. It's like, what
exactly.
The fuck? Why? But yet, instead of saying, hey, we're not here for that, we're here for this, to be peaceful, but you can't get all those fucking nonsense people out there to focus on what the true group's there for. There's always one's going to throw the brick, or whatever it's going to be.
Right. And then whether it's conservative media saying, like literally, I saw Tucker Carlson and all these other people saying, oh, well, Capitol Hill, it was mostly peaceful. And it's like, was it though? And then Black Lives Matter, I saw CNN and all those people say, oh, well, it was all mostly peaceful. And so it just depends on whose side you're on. And
it does.
And on that day, if it's for you, mostly peaceful. If it's not for you, look at these assholes, right?
Yeah. Definitely wrong on both sides. That's all I can say. But I just hated how. Oh, where was I going with it?
Are you saying that you want to go to DC on Inauguration Day? Are we going to?
Are you going to go with me? You want to
Let's go, man. Fuck it. I could use a podium from Capitol Hill.
Let's do it. Oh, boy.
Those idiots, man.
It's just I don't. Yeah, none of it makes sense when you look back on it. How the fuck did all this happen in a year? And did you read about what was that place called in California? And was it San Francisco or Chaz? Did you read about that?
Oh yeah, in
God no.
Seattle.
But where did we come? Where did we go as a country to where you could overrun a police station to the point they evicted, more or less? You're evicted. You just evicted all those police officers from their own department and took over this whole little section of this city. How did
No,
we allow that to be able to happen?
no, I do think it's complete abuse. Look, the only way that humans exist is with a social contract.
Yeah.
You know, now has a social contract been broken a million times? Yes, right. So George Floyd, did he deserve to die? No, he did not deserve.
Yeah,
to
we
die.
all. God damn it. Yeah,
Right?
that's what started it all. But we all knew that. But the goddamn 100% was wrong.
Right. So social contract broken right there. Right.
Yeah.
But again, we need to stand up and say, hey, there needs to be accountability. Those officers need to be charged. Whatever it may be, there has to be accountability. Same thing with Chaz out in Seattle or California, wherever the hell it is. The police is there to monitor and help society, right? Yeah. So for you to go in there and be like, no, fuck you, all of you, whether you're good, bad, and correct me if I'm wrong, but your dad was an officer?
Yes, yeah, dad retired detective. He did, what was it? I think right at 20 years. And then my other, got one brother-in-law in NCIS, and then one's in RPD as well right now. So I mean,
I would never, and I hate it when I hear this, but I would never label all police officers as bad.
Of course not. I mean, it's like
never.
any job, any group of people, whatever it is, you're always going to have crooked people, no matter what it is.
Exactly.
It's like politicians. There's crooked fucking politicians. There's crooked presidents. There's crooked police officers. There's crooked
politicians. There's crooked doctors out there, literally selling pills out the fucking window, right?
Anything to make a goddamn dollar.
Exactly. So
I
hate it when people are like, "Oh, fuck cops, fuck cops. I hate all cops." It's like, okay, are you really saying that just because it's cool right now, which I'm all for it, right? If it's cool to say fuck cops, yeah, okay, cool, fuck cops, right? But or are you saying it because you legitimately think that all cops are bad?
Because the instant that person that screams it is confronted by someone with a gun, they're gonna call 911. Sorry, please. Dude. So man, don't sit there and, like you said, don't go with the flow on that one. Lord have mercy.
Right. With anything, it's like, okay, cool. If there's a slogan out there that represents change, I get it, right? Like defund the police. Well, does it really mean defund the police? Some people say yes, but most people are like, no, it just means reform, right? Like maybe put some more checks and balances, and I'm all for that, right? Like
that makes sense. That makes sense. They should have labeled it that instead of defund.
Dude, I completely
reform sounds so much more professional.
The very first time I heard defund the police, I was like, oh shit, this is not good.
We're fucked.
Yeah, this is not good. Because I'm on that side, right? I want reform. I want people that do all this crazy shit that make cops look bad. I want them to pay a price. Because
that's the part that's a shame that where that event went, where it took this country, how people thought that maybe the majority of the United States stood for the officer when no matter who you are with a goddamn conscience or a soul would see you nailed on it for how long? You blocked oxygen. I'm not saying the man was 100% right. All you had to do was get out of the car, listen, put your hands behind your back, follow orders in general. But what he did at that point that killed the individual was dead wrong. And we all know that.
Right.
But it turned that every officer was like that. And it's not true.
And I mean, there's been countless of incidents like that. And I remember my older brother arguing with me one time, was like, well, you know, and this is years ago, right? Because this happens all the time. Well, you shouldn't have ran. And it's like, dude, how many times have we ran from the cops? Like when we grew up, we would always go out and cause trouble. And in the neighborhood, cops would show up and we would all just fucking run. We would fucking book it. Does that mean that we all should be shot in the back? No. That just means that they're going to have to chase us and It's just a bunch of, stupid idiots, just running.
Yeah.
I, I don't give a shit. Like if somebody caught you, selling whatever, and they're like, "Hey, freeze," and you're like, "Oh shit, I live, right around the corner. I'm just gonna book it home and be safe." I don't think you should be shot and killed because of that. Like regardless, like that's you know how hard it is to convict someone to get killed in the courtroom.
Mm-mm.
It's so rare for someone to be like, all right, cool, we're gonna kill you, we're gonna execute you.
Are you talking about I get the death penalty?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's incredibly difficult, and for a cop to just be like, oh, he's running, gotta kill him.
But no, I understand. There's the ones that took that and ran with it. To
Now,
me, I
if
see
they,
more the other side where they did it for a legit reason.
oh yeah. Look, there's plenty of incidents where if someone's fighting back and you feel like your life is threatened, dude, it's your right as a cop or as a citizen or whoever it is to do whatever you got to do to protect yourself. I am 100% behind that. But there have been way too many videos and way too many situations where a black dude's running away, and it's like, does he need to be shot? Probably not. And then there's situations, and there's plenty of videos out there of like some crazy white dude running around with a sword, and cops literally do everything in their power not to shoot him and to like arrest him. And it's like, wait a minute. Like, again, face value, what the fuck is going on? Why are there two different standards? So, again, if there's a struggle and there's like a battle for life, dude, I'm siding with the cops, right? Because he's the one out there risking his life to protect others. 1,000%. But if someone's running away, come on, man. Like, really? Do you need to kill him?
Depends. I don't know. No, so I'm just kidding. That's a tough one. I mean, I know that's a tough subject. To me, I put it as, I think whatever happens at the time, hopefully that officer used their 100% best judgment. And I just wait for the whole story to come in. I hate speaking on, I mean, that's why I always hated whenever something happened and they instantly go right for it. Police brutality. You're like, well, hold on. Let's get the whole story though first.
Absolutely.
And then yes, when it comes across and you completely see it, you're like, God damn, you're right. Definitely. That was. He abused his power. Try him. That's what it should be. And then this sucks. Right. And when it does, after they do that police brutality, they shame the police and all those officers out there then are at more risk because now everyone is saying, fuck you. Exactly. You're bad. So they don't want to put up a fight with that officer because they're being targeted per se. But then the story comes out, oh, well, he had a gun in his pants or something like that. Or that's why I hate the media. Everything comes out instantly. You got your phones. Everybody's got a phone. Everything's out instantly.
Yep.
Yes, I think it's...
And that's the difficulty, right? Is getting the details, having a conversation of like, okay, what actually happened? And that way we don't have these situations where everybody gets up in arms, right?
Yeah.
Like if we all just slow down, have a conversation, listen to both sides, because I'm telling you, man, like they like everybody wants to be a victim. Like as soon as here in New York and during COVID, there kept being these hot spots in these Jewish communities because they just don't believe in masks and they don't believe in anything, and so the transmission rates were really high, and so the governor was like, all right, we might have to like start fining these people if they're not going to behave. And literally the next day, they're all marching out on the street saying the governor's anti-Jew, he's a Nazi, he wants to kill Jews, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, dude, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? Like,
so
literally.
You were there, right. So I remember now. So how long have you been in New York now?
3 years now.
Holy shit. Because I remember we had some customers that came in, they had, when it really got nasty up north, a couple from New York and a couple from Jersey area. They came down here and we asked them, hey, before we even service your cars, we're like, when's the last you've been up there? They're like, no, man, we came down when things started getting crazy. We're going to stay in here until it kind of blows over some. I was like, got it. I remember it being crazy. I forgot all about that. That's right. You were up there.
No, yeah. I mean, but the whole point is it's so easy to judge, right?
Yeah.
whether it's one of Trump's tweets, like he'll say something that's like stupid, and then people are like, "Yep, see, he's racist. He needs to be put out. He's incapable of whatever." Blah blah blah. And it's like, dude, you're making a huge judgment call on like one little thing. Like, look at the details. Look at what he's doing. He likes to do whatever, he likes to go on Twitter so he can do stuff on the background while no one's looking. And
the one thing about him, see, I liked him as a businessman.
Right.
That was one thing I could look at him as. But I guess the part that I didn't like is, a lot of people liked him because he spoke his mind. But I wish they would have had it where his speeches were completely written. He had to read from a speech. We would have done so much better. I'd give it that much.
No, yeah, for sure. But again, it's that, as soon as you say, hey, I'm liberal, people are like, oh, no, you're an idiot. You don't know anything. You're a pussy. You're a snowflake. Kill yourself, right? And then on the other side, it's like, hey, I'm a conservative. Oh, well, all you think is, guns and this and blah 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 blah, and you don't understand human feelings and rights and all this stuff. So fuck off. And it's like, people need to just slow down, have a conversation, don't judge, don't do whatever. And like I said, part of the reason I started this podcast is literally so I can talk to as many people as I can, get as many viewpoints as I can, so everybody can just chill the fuck out, man.
And your podcast is titled what?
This is Human.
And how many people have you had so far?
You are number 24.
Seriously? Why wasn't I number 1?
Well, your secretary told me that you were busy, and so I said, all right, I'll wait. I'll be on the wait list.
Oh, life was crazy then. Oh, Lordy. I remember that. So you started this when?
About 3 months ago.
That's awesome, man. That's cool. So what is your range of kind of people been? Like everyone personal that you've known, or new people in your life? Or
mostly people that I know. Again,
okay.
I'm just starting this.
Yeah.
I want to get my feet wet and kind of gain a little bit of experience, and I've had like 1 or 2 people that I didn't really know, but I want to learn something from them, right? And I expect that to grow, because again, I cannot sit here and say this is right and this is wrong, but what I can do is say, why do you think this is right and why do you think this is wrong? And our conversation has literally been that, right? It's like, well, here's where I see it. Where do you see it? And then guess what? All of a sudden, we're like, you know what? Maybe age is the problem, right? And then
you're right. Now, why can't you take this and push this to politics? Show them your concept. I mean, that's what their concept would have been based off anyways, but I don't think it is.
I've had plenty of people on where they say something that I don't necessarily agree with. Yeah. And I'll push back maybe a little bit, ask them more details, and then I leave it at that, right? Because, look, it's your fundamental right to have an opinion and to have a preference. So who am I to tell you, hey, Hershey, you're stupid, and all of your ideas are invalid, so fuck you.
I'm like, well, that's why you brought me on here?
Yeah, just to tell me to fuck off.
Oh, man. It's just nuts, man. To think where we came from. Like, in high school, dude, I think when your brother and I are hanging out, you were in diapers still. That's nuts. And then back then it was like, I could go to my mom and dad, but like, hey, I'm going out until so-and-so. I'll see you then. And it felt good. Mom and dad, I guess at that time you could feel at ease sending your kids out. But now it's like, man, you know what? It's like, I could ride from mom and dad's house on my bicycle and go to Brentwood. So a mile away, I could ride a mile away and they didn't mind. I'd just come back at night. But like my kids are like, I want to ride down the street. I'm like, you can go that second cul-de-sac and that's it.
And you come right the fuck back.
I'm like, you ride around there and come on back. So, I mean, it's just overall.
Yeah. And I don't know. Everyone's different. Everyone grows up different. And I honestly think that if I had children right now, if they wanted to go out on the subway and just go to hang out somewhere, for the most part, I'd be like, yeah, go for it,
I guess if you since you lived in the area, now you can kind of see it. Like me to jump out and say, "Yeah, JD, go jump on that subway." I'm like, "Oh shit, there goes my son. I'll never see him again."
Well, nice knowing you.
Love you, son. He's like, "Yeah, that was a really long hug."
Yeah, here, take a picture of me so you remember me. God damn it.
Then my last selfie. He's like, "What?"
Yeah. Now I gotta go make another son.
Oh man.
No, but I truly, 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 truly appreciate you coming on the podcast.
Well, thank you, man. I appreciate it. That's kind of neat. It's nice. It's been a while since I talked to you too. It's been a long time.
Dude, it's been forever.
God dang.
And
I haven't brother in forever either.
Yeah, man. You should reach out to him in a couple months.
I think the last time I saw him was Meredith and I were together. So shoot, this is 2015, I think. 16 maybe. 15.
Damn, that's a long time, dude.
Yeah. Since then, been married, had another kid, and got divorced again.
Rinse and repeat, man. Dude, you should definitely reach out to him in like, I don't know, a couple months, or reach out to him now, man.
Definitely. I always ask him. I was like, "Hey, when you come back in town?" I don't know. I'm like, "Damn it."
Yeah, he's not very social, so you gotta pull his leg a little bit.
Dang. So when was the last time you ever came around? When was that?
Damn, dude, that was a shit ton. Like 2014.
Was it probably that picture
13?
when you were holding that baby?
Maybe. Shit, that was a long ass fucking time ago.
You said you were 15 in that one, probably. So that's 2013. That was Tori.
Look, man, I still haven't hit puberty, so I still look pretty much the same.
Oh no, yeah, it must have been around then. Probably when your mom and dad had the pizza place.
God, that was hell. Fuck that shit. But again, thank you for coming on the podcast again.
Thank you.
Obviously, I've already expressed this twice, but I'll say it again. Thank you for your service. I think anybody who's willing to sign up and do that shit, A, they're crazy, but 2, they deserve.
It's not late. You can still sign up.
Week 1 suicide watch. No, it's okay. He'll come through.
Oh shit.
Nah, but yeah, everybody that does that deserves respect.
Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Thank you.
And definitely we'll have to do this again, man.
I was about to say, yeah, reach back out if you need to follow it.
Once the country falls and we're some other country, I'll bring you back on.
Sounds like a plan, man.
All right, man. I appreciate it.
Anytime. Thanks, Papa.
See you, man.
All right, we'll see you.